my gosh, it's great. Terrelyn, 6th Avenue has turned into a sea of red, white, and blue. Just a few hours after the Trump event, another presidential hopeful, Hillary Clinton, held a rally here at Snug Harbor. The amusement parks will be open on holidays and weekends until Memorial Day. The shop is now open Wednesday through Saturday, and staff here say they will likely extend their hours. Were you able to get out this morning?
We weren't able to get out this morning.
The winners of the citywide competition will then advance to the International Championships in Ohio. Will you follow up with all these people?
Yes.
And there are still dozens of people out here at the beach driving by, checking out the water.
A 21-year-old man is dead and 2 others are injured.
A man went into the hotel around 10 after 10 this morning and stabbed his ex-girlfriend. There's an NYPD van and several police vehicles patrolling the neighborhood. That's right, even though that travel ban has been lifted, it is still pretty dangerous to drive around here.
A woman is dead after a fire broke out inside her Staten Island home.
What they end up doing is walking down this long curb. The wind is blowing and the snow is building up. It's actually sticking now. A worker killed his supervisor and then shot and killed himself. The nonprofit organization Yellow Boots has been helping displaced families ever since Hurricane Sandy.
The new MTA toll hikes have some Staten Island drivers saying they'll be leaving their cars at home.
This is Trump's first official visit to Staten Island as a presidential candidate, and people could not be more excited here. There are 2 events going on here in Bloomfield at the Hilton Garden Inn. The first one, he was endorsed by the New York Veterans Police Association, and then he went on to host the GOP fundraiser. 900 people expected at that event. Tickets were sold at $150 a pop and sold out rather quickly. Now, at this event, he took questions from the media after he received an award. I asked him what his history was here in the borough. He said he worked here for several summers. He owns property here. I also asked him if he became president, what he wanted to see improved here in the borough.
I just had stats, and they're all the same.
Now, Trump isn't the only presidential candidate expected to come to Staten Island today. Hillary Clinton is expected at Snug Harbor later this evening, and that event is open to the public. That's the latest from here in Bloomfield. Aaron Dickens, New York 1. Back to you in the studio.
Is that my son?
In the middle of an interview with New York 1, Helen Caracappa's son, Philip Caruso, walked through the door of his West Brighton home after he was missing for several days.
Thank you, Jesus. Prayers are powerful. Everybody that prayer, God. That's all I could say.
Caruso's family and cops had been searching for the 22-year-old since he was reported missing Monday evening. Police say he was last seen leaving his Du Bois Avenue home Monday morning. Caracappa says he left for work and never showed up. She says he wasn't responding to calls or texts.
We're a very, very close family. I mean, if not me, his friend, his girlfriend, he would have contacted any of us.
Who are you with? Oh, no. Oh, my God.
Caruso said he didn't know where he was and seemed to be confused. His family called 911 and EMS workers took him to Richmond University Medical Center. Hospital officials say he is in critical but stable condition. He had a bruise on the back of his head, something his mother says came after he was punched in the back of the head at a local bar Saturday night.
He doesn't know he was missing. He's just hurting his head. He's not right. He wasn't right from when he left, the day he left.
Caruso's car, the black Dodge, was parked across the street from his home. It wasn't there earlier when we showed up to interview his family. His mother says he probably used it to get home. She also says he was wearing the same work clothes from when she last saw him Monday.
Cops could not confirm that Caruso was involved in a bar fight on Saturday night. With her son home, Caracappa says she's thankful to everyone who helped search for him.
I can't thank them enough. Continue doing this for every family that goes missing.
On Staten Island, Aaron Dickens, New York 1.
Many residents in shock here, some in tears, hotel guests coming in and out of the hotel, still confused about what went on. I'm going to show you here. This is kind of the scene. The police have roped off this entire area. When I first got on the scene, I was able to, access the very front of the hotel, but now they have kind of pushed us back down the block. Now, police say the mother, 28-year-old Rebecca Cutler, died at the hospital following the stabbing. Cops also say one of her daughters died as well. Sources tell us her name was Miracle Cutler. She was 2 years old. Sources also tell us that Cutler's two other daughters under the age of 5 are in critical condition at the hospital. Police have identified a suspect, 23-year-old Michael Sykes. They say he is still at large, and sources tell us that Sykes was Cutler's boyfriend. Now, sources also say that Sykes had called his own mother before the stabbing, which happened around 10 o'clock this morning, to say he was going to kill his girlfriend and himself. And now new news, just breaking news, just getting in right now from a close source. My close source has told me that 29 families from the city's homeless services program are being housed at this hotel. Cutler's family, my source tells me, was one of them, but not the boyfriend. And now we've been speaking to residents all morning. We spoke with some residents who had mixed reactions about the program being in their neighborhood.
I know that's a decision.
Residents weighing in on both sides of the program being at this hotel, and the police say that the suspect is still at large, 23-year-old Michael Sykes. If you have any information about this incident, you're asked to call Crime Stoppers at 1-800-577-TIPS. That is the very latest from here in Willowbrook. Aaron Dickens, New York 1. Roma, back to you in the studio. Oh my gosh, it's great. Terrelyn, 6th Avenue has turned into a sea of red, white, and blue as hundreds of thousands of people have come out to the 33rd Annual Dominican Day Parade. Now there's 20,000 marchers and more than 40 floats. And here we have Teresa Sanchez from Bushwick. Now, Teresa, who did you bring out here today?
I brought my in a whole different country.
Thank you so much. And also, music was a huge part of this parade. We spoke to some people who said it was their favorite thing.
Unite all of us.
Onward and upward, 6th Avenue to 52nd Street. Aaron Dickens in Midtown, New York 1. Back to the studio. Cheryl, it was certainly a sight to be seen here at the seashore. Dozens waited online to try to get on the famous Coney Island cyclone, but as the first set of cars made their way up to the top of the tracks, they stalled and got stuck. It started with the egg cream christening ceremony. Then the season's first ride on the nearly 90-year-old cyclone rolled off like so many others. But just minutes later, the famed roller coaster stalled. Riders were stuck more than 80 feet up with only one way down.
It was terrifying because I was up there and I was like, everything was spinning.
One by one, workers escorted more than a dozen people off the ride. They were among the first 100 to get free tickets. Some said they heard the brakes stop.
The brakes just went into emergency. Wow.
No one was injured, but the ride was shut down for several hours. Park staff said the coaster went through several safety checks before the ride and that this was an isolated incident.
Stuff happens. Everyone was safe. Everyone's still back in line. They're waiting. It's gonna be a good summer.
Next door, an annual blessing at the grand opening at Dino's Wonder Wheel amusement park went off without a hitch. The first 95 people got to ride the 150-foot tall wheel for free in celebration of its 95th anniversary.
You see the world, Brooklyn for what it is, beautiful, most wonderful place in the world is Coney Island.
I thought it was going to be scary, but it was really actually fun.
Many said they would continue to ride all the rides, including the Cyclone, despite the 88-year-old coaster's scary start.
Our family has been riding the Cyclone since 1939, and it's not going to stop here.
It doesn't look that intimidating as a roller coaster, but it's scary.
But you're still here.
Of course, it's a thrill.
Park officials tell us they're still trying to investigate the cause of that stall. In the meantime, there are a lot of fun events coming to Coney Island this summer. Of course, the free Friday night fireworks shows, the Mermaid Parade, and the day where you can bring your pet here to the park. And that is the very latest here in Coney Island. Aaron Dickens, New York 1. Cheryl, let's go back to you in the studio.
The state will come in, purchase those parcels, and will leave them vacant.
It's been 2 years since Governor Cuomo approved state buyouts for more than 100 homes in Ocean Breeze, badly damaged by Hurricane Sandy. Many of those houses have been demolished, and the land will never be built on again. But just a few feet away from where the houses once stood, a New Jersey developer is clearing wetlands to make way for 20 new homes.
The whole reason behind the buyouts was to help mitigate the flooding problem here. We don't want to add to the flooding problem.
Frank Mazinski was instrumental in getting buyouts for the neighborhood. He says many residents are concerned.
A lot of people have called up and said, how come they're buying when, we're selling our space to the governor to preserve open space.
When we asked why the city is allowing the new construction, the Department of Environmental Protection said it's private property. And the buildings department said the project met all the requirements to receive building permits. Officials went on to say the new homes will be built 2 feet higher than required by new federal rules. But Borough President James Otto says it makes no sense to allow construction when the state is spending $30 million to buy the adjacent properties and bulldoze the homes.
There's parts of Staten Island where we should not build housing. That's the lesson of Sandy. Yet government is allowing it to happen.
Many residents in this neighborhood say they experience flooding even during mild storms because on several of these blocks there aren't any catch basins to absorb the water. Many we spoke would say with the new construction they're concerned that the flooding could get even worse.
There's no more safety for us. We're all going to be flooded out all over again.
We have reached out to the developer and are awaiting a response. In Ocean Breeze, Aaron Dickens, New York 1.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Aaron Dickens. Here's what's happening on Staten Island this Monday morning. Well, a winter weather advisory is now in effect. About 1 to 3 inches of snow is expected to accumulate throughout the day. Gusty winds are likely as well. Snow is also expected Tuesday and Wednesday, but our weather center says it will be nowhere near the record blizzard we had 2 weeks ago here in the borough. Mayor de Blasio has issued a travel advisory asking Staten Islanders to drive slowly and to try to use major streets and highways to get around. If you have pictures of the snow, send them to us, si@ny1news.com. We are getting some breaking news in right now. Police say a man has been rushed to Staten Island University Hospital after he was stabbed earlier this morning. Cops say the man was stabbed just before 6 a.m. at 1189 Bay Street. That's in the Fort Wadsworth section of Staten Island. Police have not told us what the man's condition is as of yet. Cops are looking for another man who they say was wearing all black. They say he is between 30 and 40 years old. If you have any information about this incident, call Crime Stoppers at 1-800-577-TIPS. We will keep you updated on this story. With tax season underway, some of our viewers on social media say they have received phone calls from telephone scammers who are pretending to be the IRS. Susan writes on Facebook, "My mom told me tonight that she received these calls. She did not call back, and I told her the IRS will not contact you by phone." Eric also chimed in on Facebook saying, "Got one the other day. Told the guy to meet me in person." So it appears it's happening across Staten Island, and Assemblywoman Nicole Maliotakis has also been discussing the issue on her Facebook page. She joins us now by phone. Hey, Nicole, what have you been hearing from residents?
Well,
all right. Well, thank you so much for being with us. Have a great week.
Thank you, Aaron.
Thank you. And here are some tips from the IRS's website. The agency says it will not call you to demand immediate payment or pay taxes. Also, it will not ask for your credit or debit card numbers over the phone or threaten to bring in police or other agencies to arrest you for not paying. For more information on this issue, visit irs.gov. That's the latest news here on Staten Island. I'm Aaron Dickens. If you do have a story idea, feel free to send it to me on Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram. Stick around. There is more New York One after this.